My name is James Holmes, and I'm gonna be playing Dudley M.D. I am a living cartoon character, and when I say living cartoon, I mean fully animated. I can do things that actual real-life people cannot, like bloop, hang from the ceiling, or bloop, manifest an anvil, and whack my own head to smithereens with it. But it's not a big deal, cause like I said, I'm a cartoon with special skills, like science. Mr. Mothman, we'd like to have a couple words with you if you don't mind.
The Mothman looks you straight in the chest.
Okie dokie. So then Dumper takes his eyes, pops them out, and then puts them on his chest in line with Mothman's vision. How's that? Better?
The Mothman puts his little tube mouth on one of the eyes and kind of licks it and sucks on it a little and then goes back to eating cans.
Okay, and then Dumper looks at the camera and goes, and I thought I was weird.
Dumper's coming out strong.
Y'all talking about the 7th Street Bridge?
What's that smell?
It's Japanese cabbage.
Sure doesn't smell like Japanese cabbage. I would know.
What's it smell like to you?
Korean cabbage.
Oh.
Woody takes the mouth off of Dumper.
Close the door behind him as he's leaving, and I just turn to everybody and I say, 2 weeks isn't enough time for us to move out of this place or to find a boyfriend.
Dumper's mouth flies out of my hand, bounces around, and then lands on his face.
What I was saying is, I agree. You'll never find a boyfriend. While you three were putzing around with old Kenny boy, I, Dumper, was coming up with a plan.
You, Dumper?
Me, Dumper.
A plan?
A plan.
From Dumper?
From Dumper. Oh, he's going back to it. But here's the thing, $12,000. If we can raise that kind of money, we could buy this place ourselves. Quick, check your pockets. Dumper opens up his pockets and then that one little fly comes out.
Yeah.
Does Mothman eat the fly?
Mothman eats the fly.
Whoever invited this guy needs to tell him to leave.
All right.
I agree.
What, me?
Yeah.
It was clearly Dumper. He's one of his fucking cartoon friends.
Why would I want another cartoon character from a fictional world here with me?
So you're aware of it.
Well, I am aware of the limelight, if that's what you mean. Then the lights go down in the place and the spotlight hits them. And he goes, because of my many talents.
Cartoon tomatoes.
Yeah, and
fly
they're
up on
booing.
screen.
Yeah, but then a real tomato.
Yeah.
From off stage.
And Mothman wanders onto stage and just looks around.
Cordelia?
I don't think he's interested.
If you try again, that's the best way to push him away. Everyone Cordelia's ever been interested in has never stayed more than a couple minutes.
That's true.
Why don't you go flirt with Mothman? Worst case scenario, he stays just a little bit longer and still declines you.
All right, well, I guess I go up to Mothman and I kind of like unbutton a button a little bit and...
From the corner, Dumper is now dressed in almost a Renaissance attire and has stretched his nose out and he goes, one more button, toots. Say hello.
Hello?
Not like that.
The
Hello?
Mothman looks up from Property Brothers.
Hello?
Dearest Mothman,
Dearest Mothman,
you have caught my eye
you've caught my eye
and my heart.
and my heart,
And I think that you and I
and I think that you and I
would make an excellent pair.
make an excellent pair.
Doggy style or otherwise.
Doggy style or otherwise.
If it comes to bridges, I think and then he transforms his face into old but still kind of younger than now Clint Eastwood. I know a thing about bridges.
God, does anybody in this house not immediately fall asleep?
Dumper is floating in the air with actual physical Z's coming off of him.
Nightcap?
Yeah.
Long nightcap?
Yeah, fully dressed as an elf. Looks
Yeah.
like.
Oh my God.
So Dumper sits down next to Mothman and kind of goes to put his arm around him, but he's got such short arms that it goes like and stretches all the way around to the other side of Mothman's shoulder. So, Mothman, can I call you Mothman? We got a bit of kind of a conundrum on our hands, and you see, if you don't get out of here and start doing what you do best to bridges, then we're gonna lose our home. So, maybe you could do us a favor, see?
So one of us has to sleep with the Mothman, is what you're telling me.
That's not what he
Well,
said
it
at
can't,
all.
and it can't
He
be
said-
Cordelia then, because she's not interested.
And it can't be you because you're 17.
Very well. All do it. And then Dumper spins around like a tornado and then appears, but not as a property sister, but as a 1960s makeup artist. And then goes, Woody, it's your time in the spotlight. And then starts going all over Woody and going, darling, you're gonna look wonderful. Once I'm done with you, you're gonna be beautiful, baby. And then after a huge puff of smoke, I can try and do this.
Yeah.
So Dumper, as a grizzled old makeup artist, is gonna try and make Woody look like a believable property sister.
Okay, and do you
like
have a
it.
skill or anything for that?
Nope.
2d6s.
Is anyone else a little bit concerned that even though I did a magnificent job turning Woody into a property sister, he doesn't really have the, the je ne sais quoi of a modern house-flipping woman? I feel like it still feels like Woody.
Well, that's why I was suggesting we drug the Mothman.
Oh.
By putting drugs and dog food for him to eat.
Well, what about that alongside some feminine lessons?
I was gonna say we teach him in the ways of feminine wiles.
Exactly.
Oh, like a cotillion almost.
I was thinking Pretty Woman.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
So, and Dumper goes, I love this idea. And then his face transforms into Richard Gere. And he goes, I'm not sure it works right.
I like to think that Dumper is a spirit that has inhabited a real person.
Could be.
Some
just-
like mask sort of.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nope. It's mostly Dumper as George S. Patton.
Giving really passionate speeches,
Yeah.
but to no one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it cuts to Woody just smoking weed in the basement as you're giving Patton speeches.
It just needs one more thing. And then Dumper pulls out a giant cartoon hammer and goes,
Okay.
Here, hold on to this.
Okay.
But when Dumper hands it to Woody, it's like this big, like it's
Right.
small.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
immediately becomes photorealistic and it's this small.
He needs to be wed to the property sister, and who better to perform that than a judge?
The
right.
landlord Nelson?
Where are we gonna find a judge?
What? Wait, you went, oh, like you knew what we were all talking, like we all went, oh, like we knew exactly what we were talking about.
Oh, if we just find a judge.
No, it's the landlord. The landlord.
The Honorable Ken
A
Nelson.
judge.
I don't think he
Find
still knows
somewhere.
what we're...
Is that what these are? And I open the freezer and there's a bunch of eggs in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Some of those are mine.
There's several cartoon eggs that all hatch at once and little chicks come out.
It's like
They all have
little
my
shit with your
head on them.
Yes, yeah.
They're beautiful.
Phone rings.
Okay.
It's Landlord Nelson.
Who is it?
Landlord Nelson.
Oh,
He says he's going to be over here in 10 minutes.
that's 10 minutes from now.
He says,
Is that convenient for you, story-wise?
Maybe when the judge gets here, we can ask him if he knows any judges.
Oh my God.
I put my hand on Dumper's shoulder and I go, never change, buddy.
And then he changes 100 different times.
Oh, that's gross every time you
goes
do
through
it.
like the Terminator 2
his
liquid metal
face
transformation
comes out of
at
his
the end.
mouth and then
Yeah.
goes back.
We're watching.
Yeah.
from-
Yeah,
So
listening.
it,
Like
would be-
lined up like
it
a-
would be like a head, and then Dumper.
Feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
up top.
the shortest one of us.
Yeah. You look back to the two of them to get their reaction, and they're shaking their heads no, and Dumper's shaking his head yes.
And
I set it down and then use it sort of like a pole and make my way around it and then sit down seductively.
Dumper goes, he hasn't used the hammer yet.
But you are missing a leg and in shock.
Dumper goes, pinch your nose and try and blow through your closed mouth so it pops out a new leg. That's strange. It normally works for me. Dumper, now sitting by the window, in almost a weird bathrobe with shorts.
Like Hugh Hefner?
His foot in a cast.
James Bond.
Holding a camera with a large telephoto lens.
Yes.
Looking out the window, turns to Penelope and Cordelia and goes. Well, he's coming this way. Referring to the gentleman walking up the sidewalk. He's gonna be here any minute. I can't hold him off.
Like I didn't like most children watching 90s cartoons, they don't get the reference.
Yeah.
They're coming this way.
There's gonna be here any minute.
Jack is on his way.
You're gonna have to hurry.
Oh my god.
I'll hold them off as long as I can. He starts taking flashes and changing the bulb every time.
Okay, so
Dumper does that and
Like a tornado? Or?
yeah.
Oh,
Like basically
I
like
see. Yeah.
shoots
Yeah.
himself up and then poof, in a cloud that is left behind of him in a running position. But then he goes and then walks through the cloud and then slowly walks to his
Okay.
room. Dumper comes out of his room dressed exactly the same with all the same animals and then looks up and says, well, one of us is gonna have to change.
Dumper, take another picture of him.
Cheese! And then hands him a big piece of cheese.
we have actually a nuptial ceremony that's about to occur here, and we do not have a judge.
So we wanted to know if you know any judges.
Do I know any judges? I'm a judge.
You're a judge. Of course, you're
He's a judge.
He's a judge.
You're well, but we meant like
We lead him in, but then still standing in the doorway, Dumper looks Cordelia up and down and goes, your outfit's absurd. And then the shirt part of his thing rolls up and hits him in the face.
And grabbed a fog machine. So I'm filling the living
Okay.
room with fog.
okay.
Yeah, and
Got it.
obscuring
Yeah.
any, Mothmen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dumper, now as an old grizzled sailor,
I haven't seen it this way in such a long time.
Don't eat shit.
he's now on the bow of a ship for some reason, going,
Arr, tis going to be a long wedding.
Jesus Christ.
what a dumper.
Dumper is weeping, just
Oh.
he's just the wettest, nastiest tissue. Water is actually rising up from
as the tears.
floor,
Yeah.
filling up the whole place.
Yes, it zooms out. He's in a dinghy.
Yeah. Mark Mahan,
And
Patricia brother.
Patricia brother. Oh yeah. In holy matrimony, by the power vested in me through the courts of West Virginia, and then you are the husband and wife. I guess
You may now kiss the.
You may now kiss this moth creature.
I didn't think about this part.
We have an organ in
Yeah.
the living room.
Yeah.
So
Who plays the organ? I imagine it's probably a dump, right?
Dumper, but Dumper also has half of his face obscured with the mask.
Yeah.
He's playing a very inappropriate. It started out as,
Yeah.
but it
the
immediately
wedding march,
became.
Right, yeah.
Phantom theme, yeah, okay. Of many loose threads.
Dumper to himself goes, wait a minute. Use the Mothman to kill the landlord, and then takes all the dog food, and then launches the dog food to try and smother Ken with all the dog food.
Okay, so if the bad thing happens, it also smothers Cordelia,
and I feel
and
like
she probably
it's-
gets eaten.
I feel like either way, the dogs are gonna be in. There's 8 dogs.
The dogs
tied
will
to
freak
me
out,
right
yeah.
now.
5 and 2.
Okay, so
So-
you can negate it, or
I really want it to happen though. I'll take the 5 to the good thing,
okay, and the 2 to the bad
to the
thing.
bad thing.
Okay, so you do throw the food at the Mothman. The dog food, or not the Mothman, the landlord. Unfortunately, because the landlord is hugging you so closely, you are also smothered in dog food. And the Mothman descends upon you like a rabid animal who hasn't had any food. And the rest of the dogs.
Honey, no!
How many?
There's 8 dogs all tethered to my waist.
So 8 dogs and a Mothman fall upon you and the landlord, and it's gruesome.
As he's eating me, I'm screaming.
Yeah,
But
it hurts bad.
there's
I
just
fall
something
asleep.
so sensual about being consumed. A feeling, a sensation that Cordelia has never felt. She's
So-
never felt like she's been wholly wanted in such a way in her
You
life.
fucking
before.
army hammer motherfucker.
Yeah.
As you're being devoured, eaten alive, you do go through a pretty powerful awakening.
Oh.
And you realize that this would have definitely been something that you were super into
Yeah.
had you continued to live past this moment. Unfortunately, I guess what is the last thought in your do you say anything? Do you have a last word? I guess this is kind of just the end as well
guess.
because the landlord's dead. Last words, anything?
You owe me for the water bill.
Aww.
The landlord and Cordelia, unfortunately, are both dead. The dogs continue to gnaw on the bones, on the corpses, but the Mothman sort of looks up and focuses back on you. He remembers it's your special day. You're asleep. The landlord's dead. I think the city probably just public domains the land.
I hear the Property Brothers are delicious.
You're dead, so someone...
Yeah.
someone
The
else.
property brothers are delicious.
What's that?
You can talk?
Of course I can talk. I could talk this whole time.
We never thought to ask.
I guess, Mothman, do you want Cordelia's room? And maybe if anyone comes to try to forcibly evict us, you could eat them?
Of course, I hate bridges. I would love to move in full time.
Well, this worked out pretty well.
Executive producer Dick Wolf.
Record scratch. Dumper pops in front of the executive producer credit, and he goes, make sure to tune in next week for another episode. Oh, I'm being told that's the only one. Okay, well, thanks everybody.
And have a good night.